Welcome back to Film Snob HQ. The road to Doomsday continues. We are up to the third feature in the fourth phase of the MCU, the fifth era of Marvel films. If that's a lot of numbers, I'm doing my best. I'm trying to figure it out. This feels like it's been a lot slower for you guys. It won't have changed at all, but I'm noticing a real change of pace in terms of my ability to watch these movies and TV shows now. I feel like up until phase 4, it was really easy. Even with multiple studios, it was easy to keep track and get through them all, knock them out in pretty quick succession. I do like all of the MCU TV shows, but man, they slow down everything. And it's interesting to see how that will move kind of heading forward, because I've seen a lot of people say online that they prefer the TV format because it allows for long-form storytelling, which is great, and I agree with that. And with the show I'm going to talk about today, I would definitely agree. That bug is in the screen. However, if you're looking to binge watch, if you're like, I'm going to knock out the MCU in a couple of weeks or in a couple of months leading up to a big movie like Doomsday, the pacing changes dramatically. And the pacing of the shows is fine, but the pacing of the overall watch is a lot different, because the movies is 2 hours a piece, knock them out, you're done. But then we get to, WandaVision, Falcon the Winter Soldier, and now we've got Loki, which we're going to today, and they're all like 6 hours long, and suddenly it's just taking so much longer to get through them all. So I love the shows, but I don't know if I would do this on a regular basis. I will do a binge watch from time to time of the entire movie franchise, but I think, with Secret Wars coming out next year, I probably won't go through all of them again, and I would probably skip the shows, even though they're likely important to the story. It just changes the kind of the pace of me being able to watch them and all. But anyway, enough with that. Let's talk about the feature of the week, or the episode, which is, of course, Loki. Season 1. There are 2 seasons of Loki. Most of the MCU shows have not received multiple seasons, other than the animated ones. Although, as of today, at the time of recording, they did announce this morning that Wonder Man is getting a second season. And, of course, Season 2 of Daredevil is about to start this week. I'm recording in March. This is dropping in, September or something. So, obviously, there's a bit of a time delay. I haven't watched Wonder Man yet, but I will get to it. It took me a while to get onto this one on this rewatch, because as I said, the pacing just slowed everything down. I wasn't eager to get back into the TV show. And I think in the last video I said that Falcon and the Winter Soldier is the best TV show they've done. I forgot how wonderful Loki is. Loki is incredible. The first episode is probably the weakest one. It's very much a catch-up episode to kind of get everyone on the same page, because this is not the same Loki we've been watching for the last 15 years or so, or 10 years. This is not the Loki that was... Well, this is the Loki that was introduced in Thor, but he's from a different timeline. So in our timeline, in the main, the sacred timeline, if you will, Loki dies in Avengers Infinity War. But then in Endgame, they go back, and when they go to get the Tesseract to stop Thanos, this Loki of that timeline doesn't get captured by the Avengers at the end of that movie. He escapes with the Tesseract and goes up into his own timeline and branches off, and that's this Loki here. So it does feel a bit strange, and I will say, even though I love the character of Loki, it is kind of weird, kind of rooting for and falling in love with a character who's not from our main timeline. But it's fine. Tom Hiddleston is brilliant. Sophie DiMartino, I think her name is, who plays Sylvie, is incredible. Owen Wilson is really fun. It's a great series. It sets up the multiverse in a really wonderful way. Even though we've talked about the multiverse in Doctor Strange previously, and there were hints of multiverse in Far From Home, and hints of multiverse in WandaVision, this really kicks open the door. Each episode is unique, gives us a different piece of the story. It's a mystery. We're trying to figure out who runs the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, and who's controlling all the time, and who's, erasing those pesky variants who are kind of causing havoc on the timeline. It's visually stunning. There's some wonderful cameos. Episode 5, I think, is most people's favorites, where we get all the different Loki variants, including the wonderful Richard E. Grant as our classic Loki. And then, of course, we're introduced to what was supposed to be the main villain of this phase, this saga, Kang. Kang shows up in the end of the first season, played by Jonathan Majors in a really fascinating performance. Thanos is so sincere and stoic, and yes, he has bravado, but he's very kind of measured in the way he carries himself and talks. Whereas Kang is insane. This performance that Jonathan Majors put in for this episode is bonkers. He's all over. He's bouncing off the wall. He's like a cartoon character. He's kind of like Bugs Bunny, except if he was a villain. And I really like that about it. Obviously, things changed in the real world. Jonathan Majors was fired, so we will see him show up again as Kang 2 more times. He'll appear in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and he'll appear again in Loki season 2. But beyond that, I'm not quite sure. I know I haven't talked about the show so much. There's just so much in it. It's so dense to kind of try and analyze it all in these short videos isn't going to really do it. But if you like Tom Hiddleston, and who doesn't, like, you're in for an absolute treat. And he's not even necessarily the best part of the show, but he's so wonderful. And whilst it did feel like a bit of a cop-out initially to bring Loki back, even though he was killed, like Thanos just said, no more coming back, whatever. I think as fans collectively, we sighed a breath of, kind of relief when we were getting more Loki, because he's such a fun character. If you haven't checked it out, go and watch it. It's absolutely fantastic. Really, really fun. Really exciting kind of dive into the multiverse. And I love how ambiguous and mysterious it is as well. In terms of characters returning, we talked about Loki before, but absolutely Loki's coming back for Doomsday and Secret Wars. I have no doubt about that. Mobius, played by Owen Wilson. I don't know if he'll come back. We might get like a brief shot of him if the TVA are involved in the film at all, which I imagine they would have to be. Sylvie, I think, will show up again as well at some point. I think we need her. And then the Kang of it all, maybe. I know Disney parted ways with him, but since that happened, like, he was cleared of charges and stuff like that. And look, I'm not here to dive into the controversy and talk about all that. That's not what these videos are about. These videos are talking about the art themselves. I kind of wish they hadn't done away with the Kang character. I think you could have recast Chuck Waddy, who plays the villain in Guardians 3, I think could have been a great variant of the character. He played the High Evolutionary, and that character, spoiler alert, didn't die, so they could have made him just a variant of Kang. But anyway, that's fine. Part of me thinks that Kang might show up, if only to demonstrate how powerful Doom is. But we'll see. That is Loki. It's a wonderful, wonderful show. Even though I have my issues with the pacing of the overall rewatch of everything, on its own, standalone, or just tied in with the basic continuity, the show is absolutely fantastic and so much fun. Next up is Black Widow.